Hello, welcome to another video. If you watched my last sketchbook tour, you already know what this is. In my last video, I actually said that I already filmed a video and fully edited it and was ready to post, and that was true, but I'm gonna refilm it because when I went back and looked at it, I realized that my feelings on it kind of changed a bit, and I also honestly got a little bit better at talking to a camera since then. So I decided to redo the video again. So here we are. Anyways, I don't want to ramble too long, so let's get into it. This shouldn't be too long of a video. This is the art creation sketchbook, and I'm gonna have more information on the sketchbook on the inside of it. On the cover, I wrote 1 week sketchbook and threw a bunch of random little stickers that I think I got from like Daiso or something. And as you can tell by like my hand, this sketchbook is really small. It's way smaller than anything I'm used to working in. Here's that extra info I was talking about. So we have 7 days, I hope. We'll get into if that actually worked out or not. 22 pages a day, 11 spreads a day, and then the more important goals, which were more intuitive drawing, have fun, and think less. The entire point of me doing this challenge was, first off, I always wanted to do this. I remember seeing art YouTubers do this back in like early art YouTube, and I always thought it was so cool, but I did not have the time to do it because I was in school. Now I'm not, so I decided to try and tackle it. But secondly, I've just been super art blocked for like years now, basically, on and off, and it ends up making it so that when I try and do a normal sketchbook, it takes me about a year to complete each of them, so I wanted to challenge myself and push it into a smaller time zone. I don't know if that's the right wording, but let's get into it. Can't use this in between page. I think I started off pretty strong. I drew this while I was watching a streamer, which that is her name. I don't know how to pronounce it, so I don't want to butcher it. But she makes really cute art, and I was drawing this while watching one of her streams. And then a random pose on Pinterest. They don't stay this colorful just because it's kind of impossible to keep up with this amount of work when you are trying to push out like 22 drawings a day or more. But as you can see, I actually was labeling my pages. I end up labeling all of them in the sketchbook. Some of them are hidden, so if you want to try and point them out, you can. But most of them are just like in the corners or something, like this one. Some pen drawings, which I never do. You can tell how old this was because web fishing had just come out whenever I was working in this, and I wanted to play it really badly because I saw all the clips online of people having like a ton of fun in it. For a lot of this sketchbook, I end up using this like rainbow pencil that I've had since I was like 10, and then using pen over it. In my normal sketchbooks, I absolutely despise going straight in with pen just because obviously you can't erase your mistakes and sometimes things look horrible. But I really pushed myself to not cover up drawings in this one that I don't like. Like this one I definitely am not a huge fan of, but what's done is done, and I keep it in the sketchbook because otherwise it will never get done. There's some figure drawings. I end up doing a lot of figure drawings in this because figure drawings take like no time. They're incredibly easy and fast to do, and they usually look pretty decent, if, you know, a little boring. Some more figure drawings. I actually love like the materials on this one. I end up discovering a lot of mixed media pen combinations and stuff that I end up really liking in this. More pen drawings. Most of these are all referenced off of Pinterest, like random poses and people and stuff. I actually really like this drawing. I think this might be one of my favorites in the sketchbook. I started off really strong in these early pages. Later on, I end up finding out that the time that I started this sketchbook ended up being one of the worst possible times that you could start a challenge like this, and I'll get into that a little bit. But if you watched my last sketchbook tour, you probably know I moved across the country. And when I moved across the country, I found out, with not a lot of time to spare, we basically found out and had to pack up our stuff and quickly move across the country within like a few weeks. And I had started the sketchbook like literally a week or two right before we had to do that move. Also, I do a lot of fun like writing stuff in this. Like I just wrote random stuff just halfway through on need to speed up and stuff like that, and then draw like a pen drawing on top of it. So, spoiler alert, this sketchbook didn't take 7 days. It took a lot longer than that. I end up finishing the majority of the sketchbook within the first week, and then I have to drop it because I simply couldn't let a challenge like this take up so much time when I realized I had to pack up everything in my house like immediately. Also, I love both of these drawings, especially this one. I think this challenge was really beneficial. If honestly, looking back at these, a lot of these drawings, or I guess all of them, are a year old at this point, and I still like a lot of them. I just love how sketchy and flowy they came out when I'm rushing to get them out in 5 minutes rather than sitting there and drawing and erasing over and over again for hours at a time. I don't have a ton to say about most of the pages in the sketchbook because a lot of it doesn't have a backstory. A lot of it kind of just boils down to I needed something to draw and I very quickly sketched something on Pinterest or just drew something without thinking about it. A lot of it ends up being my default, which is just drawing random pretty girls, basically. I had so much fun with materials that I don't usually use in my sketchbook that I love the way they feel. Like this, for example. First off, love this sketch. I love how her hair looks, but this sketch, for example, is made with this pen. It's the Tombow Furunusuke. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it. Dual-ended pen, and I love these pens. I think they're really fun and satisfying to use, but I never use them to just sketch in my normal sketchbook because they're pen, and I hate not being able to erase. They're also dual-ended, so they have like this gray for like a pre-sketch and then black for like the final lines afterwards. It's only been a year since I did this sketchbook, and I almost want to do the challenge again already, just because of how satisfying the sketching process was for all of this. Some more web fishing stuff in random trash, I guess. I just had so much fun throwing random things onto the page and not caring about the outcome of it. This is definitely one of my favorite spreads in the sketchbook. It's a drawing of like my mascot, basically. She's the person that you see in my profile picture and I sometimes use as like an avatar for speaking. Her name is Seaweed and she has a pet crab named Rigatoni. I think I took a break in between these two pages, which is why it says pause and resume. I ended up doing that a lot in this sketchbook. I would spend a whole day dedicated to drawing in it, and then I would take the next day off because I used that day to go do actual things I needed to do, and then would resume the day after and continue like normal. So I was kind of just giving myself break days in between this challenge, which kind of inherently makes you fail because the idea is that you need to do it within a week, but I instead treated it more like a week-long challenge where I was dedicating these days to doing it, but I was spreading it out within like 2 weeks. That being said, I already spoiled that I don't end up finishing this challenge on time, and the last like 20 pages or so I ended up doing across the country from where I started. Okay, things are looking desperate at this point. It looks like I've moved on to doing figure studies and I'm not even finishing drawing the hair or anything at this point. Oh, these are super fun. I actually, I do a handful of pages like this with hands, shapes, and figure drawings. I believe this was on lineofaction.com. They have a section where you can do like speed drawings where each drawing you only get a certain amount of seconds or minutes and it goes up over time. It's kind of meant to give you a bunch of warm-ups before you actually get to your final product in the end. So all of these were 30 seconds each. That's why some of them you can't really tell what's going on. These ones were all a minute each. These ones were 5 minutes each. These ones are my favorite. I think these ones look the best. I think I get to a certain point where like too much time is too much. Like this was 10 minutes, but I remember I finished it in like 5 minutes and then was like, what do I do now? And just kind of like rendered without really thinking about it. Like I don't want to spend 10 minutes on a hand. I think 5 is my max. Also, I love all these like little wordy things that I did, and I don't know, they're really cute. A rare colored page. He's very cute. I like him. These are little trinkets that are on my desk. And then some OCs. A rare OC drawing. Now we're back to line of action. These ones are regular figure studies. We have 30 seconds each first. Looks like I'm on day 3 at this point. These are also 30 seconds each. I think these pages can be a little bit boring, but honestly I love the way they look. Like, I really like looking at them. I don't know. They're very silly and fun. I really like this one especially. Now we have a minute each. Now they're starting to look a little more like actual people. And then we have 5 minutes each. Oh, and it looks like I didn't do the 10-minute one. I think if I remember correctly, these ones were very similar, where I kind of finished them before 5 minutes and didn't really know what to do with my hands for the rest of it. Another rare, colorful page. I guess this would be a good time to talk about the sketchbook itself. I tried using watercolor in it on this page, and if I'm being completely honest, I absolutely hated the way watercolor felt on this sketchbook. Any sort of wet media, anything other than pen, honestly, I kind of hated in this sketchbook. And I feel bad because a lot of artists really love the Talon's Art Creations sketchbooks, so it looks like I was having a crisis about just how many pages were left at this point. But yeah, a lot of people really like these sketchbooks. I see them go around a lot in the art community, but honestly, I kind of hated it. Maybe it's just because I've been spoiled by Moleskines, but this is a great example, actually. I didn't like the way pencil felt on them. Also, just random sketches, but yeah, I didn't like pencil at all. Okay. Quick break. I hope that wasn't too jarring. I had to take a break because my phone storage ran out and also my phone was gonna die, so I went and took a break and ate a giant leftover bowl of butter chicken, and it was awesome. I was trying to talk about how I low-key kind of hate this sketchbook. I just found the pencil to be like really smudgy, and it felt like even though I was like trying to draw really dark, it was showing up as really light. Like I couldn't get the pencil to like actually show up very well. And like erasing it also kind of sucked and just ate at the paper. That mixed with like wet medias was not great in this sketchbook in my experience. But other than that, I thought pen worked great in it. In a way, it kind of worked out because it forced me to use pen instead of pencil just because of how much I hated the way pencil felt in it. But yeah, it worked out, it's fine. I almost like kind of think if I were to do this challenge again, I would repurchase the same sketchbook because I did really like the way pen was on it. Like the pen worked out great, but everything else I hated. Also, we have more web fishing art. This is me and my husband, our web fishing characters, because I know it said I want to play web fishing earlier. We did play web fishing. What a fun time capsule. I don't know if that game is even like running still. I'm not sure. Honestly, this sketchbook has a lot more color drawings than I remembered it having. I remember when I first finished it and I had made a video about it, I was really down on myself because it felt like the sketchbook was like a real letdown. Also, this is supposed to be Queen Chrysalis, and I'm so excited because her figure came out and I pre-ordered it, and I've been waiting for it for so long. I've been wanting them to make a figure of her. She's one of my favorite My Little Pony characters. Anyways, that's part of why I refilmed this, because I remember making this and just being really down on myself and being like, oh, these pages are really boring and they really suck. But after a year of not looking at it and coming back to it, I actually really like it. Also, I love how these sketches came out. I really enjoyed this pen combo. The green and purple was really fun. Also, I really like this sketch. So I like both of them a lot. Back to line of action, just this time I was doing shapes, and I haven't drawn shapes like this since I was like in like high school art classes, and yeah, I still to this day don't find them to be very helpful. I don't know, I guess basic shapes is like just one of those like entry-level things where I don't know, it feels like it doesn't do much later on. I think I'd get a lot more out of just doing like regular life studies instead of doing like basic shape studies. But I think the pages look kind of fun, at least. More figure studies. I do so many figure studies in this, but like I really enjoy that I did that because I don't do figure studies enough, and they're honestly so fun. Figure studies is one of my favorite ways to study. More of that green and purple pen combo. A rare color page. What did I use for this? Is this oil pastel? I think it's like oil pastel mixed with paint pen. I forgot I did this. Some eyes. This is such a throwback. I feel like this is something I would have drawn in my sketchbook in like middle school, which I think is really silly and fun. A Miku drawing, but she kind of looks like, what is her name? Like Furzon? I don't know if that's how you say it. The blue-haired girl from Genshin. More figure studies. Don't look at this page that's blank. I promise it's not blank. look away. More figure studies. Oh my god, who would have guessed? These are all so fun though. I think like the vast majority of figure studies in this sketchbook, like I know these ones were mostly from Line of Action. This one was also Line of Action. They're just so fun and simple to do. Some sketches. There's a bleed through here, but I promise you there was a drawing there. Even if it was super simple, there was something. This is the only marker drawing in the whole sketchbook, and yeah, this is where I learned that I really don't like the way markers feel in these sketchbooks. It just has like this super grainy texture to it, and it felt like the paper was like really sucking up the markers. Like this green, whenever I swatched it on a different piece of paper, was like really dark, and then when I tried drawing in this sketchbook with it, it just like sucked all the color out of it. Also my mascot again, seaweed. But yeah, I wonder if I just like got a bad batch or something. I'm kind of sad that I drew over this. This was kind of a cute sketch. If I wasn't doing a 1 week sketchbook, this is definitely a page where I would have came in with paint marker and like drawn over it so that you could actually see it. Yeah, I wonder if I like just got a bad batch of these sketchbooks or something, because I know people love these sketchbooks, but I just don't really like them. Also a drawing of me. Really funny. I had short hair like this when I drew this sketchbook, and then I grew it out for like a year straight just because I didn't want to get a haircut. And then I recently cut it again like a couple weeks ago, so now I'm back to this hairstyle. I've come full circle in the time it took me to film this. Wowza, what a shit week. I really like pages like this where I just draw something really simple. Looks like I took another break. A lot of this is dated if you did want to like, guys, don't tell anyone, but there might have been another cut because I had to optimize my storage again. Anyways, I really like pages like this. I really like this just super simple little doodles to fill up a page. They're really cute. This is a stupid little like video idea I had. I saw there was like a trend going on at the time where people would draw themselves like with what music they listened to at the time. And I was like trying to write down what were like my most listened to faces for each year. Faces? My most listened to songs for each year. Did I say faces the first time too, or did I say song? Anyways, yeah, I just thought it would be like really funny because I went through like listening in like middle school and elementary school to like only Vocaloid, to then listening to like alternative and rock to like try and like fit in, to then just going full circle and going back to listening to Vocaloid later on. Anyways, I never did this because it would have been a lot of work for something very silly. I think I was literally drawing Genshin characters while I was like letting my quest auto speak because it was taking too long and there was like an event running. Also, like, I'm like halfway through the sketchbook at this point and I'm clearly getting really burnt out of this challenge. I don't think the move is hit yet though. I referenced this off Pinterest and it's literally not mine. True. Yeah, it's super referenced. I don't think these ones were as referenced, but yeah. Yeah, I think you can see the burnout. I am like barely even drawing at this point. All of these were like super loose and they were drawn with like a random pen. Yeah, these pages at this point were probably taking me like a minute each. I was really trying to get through this. I actually didn't mention it, but the first half of the sketchbook, like where all the figure drawings were and stuff, I did so much of this in cafes. Like, probably the vast majority of the sketchbook was drawn in cafes. I remember when I first started this, me and my husband kind of had like some off time where we didn't really have anything to do, so before like the big move, we just kind of were going to cafes like every day for like a week straight. So that's why so much of this ended up being cafe doodles. Back to like really simple figure studies over here. These aren't even figure studies. I think these were just like poses off of my head, or like maybe some of them referenced off Pinterest at this point. This one was definitely referenced off Pinterest. This is like the bare minimum of what qualifies of a drawing at this point. But wow, yeah, these, I guarantee you this took no longer than like a minute. Really needed to get through this. I'm cheating on this page, sorry, yeah, I just straight up didn't do anything here. Ponies, I love ponies. These are super cute. They're very round. I really like this style. Another page, don't look, I couldn't finish it. Another Miku drawing. This is cute. I like that pen combo. I think these were both like highlighters, but not like actual highlighters, like the zebra mod liner type of highlighters that are like super pastel. Yeah, I'm really proud of myself looking back on this because so much of this was drawn with no sketch. This is literally all like straight going in with pen with no planning or anything. Yeah, I'm like really just chugging along trying to finish this. I think at this point I knew that we were about to move and that I wasn't gonna have enough time to finish this because I was about to have to pack up and do a road trip. This is cute. I like this face. Also, this cat looks very stupid. Oh, I think I'm about to hit where the move was. Yep, this is where the move was. So I got about this far in, and this was not really within 1 week, it was more within 2 weeks if I'm being honest with myself, because I was taking breaks in between my days. And then at this point I moved. So if you watched my last video, then you might remember I mentioned that I moved all the way across the country and also that our furniture got lost for a while. So it's kind of evident in this sketchbook. As you can see, this is a completely different material. It's because I didn't bring a lot of drawing supplies with me. I just brought like the bare minimum because I thought that our furniture was only going to take like 1 to 2 weeks max. That's like the predicted time for it. So I figured that I would stop working on this sketchbook and then pick it back up after like a couple weeks once our furniture got there. But that ended up not being the case. Our furniture got lost in like New Mexico for like a month straight, and it completely ruined my plans. So for these, I actually ended up going to like a local art supply store and I bought like a water graphite pen, like a water-soluble graphite pen, and was using that. I drew literally the entire rest of this in a cafe, not because I wanted to, but because I had no furniture. So it was either draw in a cafe on a table or draw on my floor with no furniture for like a month. So I really like this drawing. This is a cool texture. I haven't used the water-soluble graphite pen much since then, but yeah, it has a really fun texture. It's actually pretty fun to use. I saved one of these gummy candy wrappers. This is actually a reference to like my road trip. Right before we left, we went to like an international market and picked up a bunch of snacks because our road trip was like over a week long. It was like a week straight of driving along with like a 3-day stop in the center of it to visit some family. So my husband was driving, and while we were driving for like 12 hours straight, we were just like inhaling bags of this peach gummy candy, and it was so good. I really want more of these, but I haven't seen them in stores anywhere since. But yeah, I'm just back to drawing in cafes. Also, I really hated this when I drew this. I don't think it's that bad looking back on it. Like, it's like fine, whatever. I don't really feel any way about it, but for some reason, like, you can like tell, like, I did not like this. I don't know why. I think I was just feeling really down after the move because the furniture situation was just such a nightmare. And then if you watched it, you might know I also mentioned that when we moved, our neighbors ended up being like nightmare neighbors as well. So I was just like really going through it. I got this like highlighter from a local cafe that I really like. Also, this pony drawing is so cute. I really like the way I drew her face. But I got like a couple of these things from a random cafe nearby. They weren't in a pack. They were just selling like individual highlighters. But like, look at the top of it. Focus? It's like this weird gummy material. I don't know. It's not like a regular highlighter. It's just like, I'll show you. It's like a weird like gummy material. I don't know how to explain it, but it feels really satisfying to use. That being said, like nothing draws over top of this. This was a nightmare to line, but so fun to use. Really satisfying. I actually kind of forgot that I had these, and now that I'm looking at this, I need to draw with those more often. This is cute. I remember liking it whenever I drew it, but I'm kind of uninspired at this point, I think. More pen drawings and some paint marker. Paint marker is like one of the few materials I bought with me because it was like a really small container. Also drawing of Flutterbat. I can't escape drawing Fluttershy for some reason. More of those paint markers and swatching it over here. I was spending a little more time on my drawings at the end of this sketchbook just because like Like I said, I literally didn't have anything else to do. I was just stuck with no furniture doing nothing for like a week straight. A week straight? Wow, I'm underselling myself. It was like a month straight. Also, this is a good example of what I mean by the pencil thing. It's like you can tell how light the pencil is, and I'm not using a hard pencil. I think I was using like HB or something, and it's still like so light. Some funny drawings of my cat. So a Daiso bag. I think when we moved here, it was the first time we ever got to go into a Daiso, and we are like addicted to it now because we didn't have any where we lived before. A lot of red pen drawings. I think it might have just been one of the only materials I had with me. I don't want to talk about how long it's been since working in the sketchbook. I literally moved across the country and we drove it. I'm so tired. What? Oh, I'm so tired I don't care that this is cheating. Yeah, I didn't technically make the 7-day deadline like I wanted to, but to be fair, this taking like a month total was still like way better than my normal sketchbooks. My normal sketchbooks usually take me a year or more. I think I left the last page empty. Yeah, this was technically supposed to be the last page and I left it empty. And there's nothing in the back. So yeah, that's it. I hope you like this. I ended up actually really enjoying this, and looking back on it, I think this was a great exercise. Would I recommend it to normal people? Maybe not. If you have any sort of job or you're like actually going to school or something, this is incredibly hard. Literally keeping up with this and doing anything for the rest of the week feels impossible. So it's really time consuming to do this, but I came out of it with a lot of the things that I was hoping to get out of it. I honestly would love to do another one of these just because of how freeing it felt. So yeah, I guess if you are really art blocked and you're really desperate like I was, maybe you should try it. The Talon's Art Creations sketchbook, despite me not liking the way pencil felt on them, they're really cheap. They're incredibly cheap sketchbooks and they have good enough quality paper. The cheapness of the sketchbook and like the paper quality not being my favorite is kind of a positive because it makes me want to just rip into it and use it and not worry about wasting pages or anything. But yeah, I actually do think I would recommend this if you do have the time for it. I don't think you have to do 1 week specifically. I think maybe something... I have Vicks on my hands. I just got Vicks all over my table. That's so gross. I'm sorry. Yeah, I have like really bad allergies right now, so I'm inhaling Vicks. Anyways, I don't think you have to do 1 week. I think you could do like a light version that's like a month instead, and it would probably be equally as nice and a little less stressful. But yeah, I really recommend just at the very least doing a sketchbook that's like a shit book that you're allowed to do anything in. Like have your normal sketchbook like I do. Here's my normal sketchbook right now. It's not very full, but you know, do your normal stuff where you want to like make actually good work and allow yourself to cover up pages in that one, and then keep a secondary one where you just literally are not allowed to change sketches that you've already put down and just draw whatever you want. Treat it as like a actual sketchbook, because honestly, us as artists, we don't really do that anymore now that online social media has like kind of turned sketchbooks in themselves as like a kind of turned it into like a performance thing where it needs to be presentable. I think just keeping one that is at its core a regular sketchbook where you practice, do whatever you want, and don't worry about the outcome is really important. So yeah, I definitely recommend doing something along those lines. Anyways, thank you for the support and maybe go check out my last video. I love you. Bye.